One act of kindness from a Knoxville man making a big impact among Vietnam vets and their families.
He's a Vietnam veteran himself and makes special commemorative plaques for people associated with the war. WATE 6 on Your Side reporter Don Dare went to South Knoxville where he spoke with the veteran and visited his workshop.
Right, he calls the plaques that he hands out a labor of love and respect, and you'll see that. For Vietnam veterans, their family, and others who remember that era, the war divided the nation. One particular veteran, Mickey Wilson, a retired insurance agent, isn't shy about his service, and he wants not only Vietnam veterans, but their wives, brothers, and sisters to share a little of his generosity, which starts in his workshop. Mickey Wilson is a craftsman. For several years, he has meticulously prepared special plaques that he gives away to a group he holds dear to his heart, Vietnam veterans and their families. These tokens of gratitude are not expensive to make, he said, but tell that to the people who receive them.
It's a very little thing. It's not $1 million, but sometimes it makes them feel like $1 million. This is a picture of me in Saigon.
Looking at a scrapbook his wife put together, Mickey showed us pictures of fellow soldiers with the 4th Psychological Warfare Group. He said his unit moved throughout Vietnam in 1969. In his travels, the former Army specialist met up with many American soldiers. It wasn't until a few years ago that he decided he wanted to do something for his fellow servicemen and women.
Being a Vietnam veteran, we got nothing but a hard time when we came back from Vietnam.
So he was inspired to design a plaque of recognition.
To say thank you for your service and welcome home.
How many of these have you given out?
Between 400 and 500 of them. It doesn't necessarily have to be a veteran. If I find a family that have lost a veteran, whether it be a husband or a brother, I also give them a plaque.
Hi.
Hi there.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, I tell you.
Did you have a good birthday?
I had a wonderful birthday.
Beverly Johnson, once a stranger to Mickey, is one of those who has received his act of kindness. A few weekends ago, Mickey held a garage sale when Beverly stopped by his home in South Knoxville. When she saw his hat, she told him her brother had been in Vietnam. It was then that Mickey gave her this plaque. She'll deliver it to her brother in New York State when Beverly visits him next month.
The only time he discussed Vietnam was with my son, Steve, who was in Desert Storm. And then he opened up. So then he said to me, and he started to cry, and I'm going to do the same thing. And he said, you don't know what this means to me. And I said, I think I do.
Mrs. Johnson said there's a special place in her heart for veterans like Mickey Wilson.
They are angels. I think that they are God's angels trying to spread some wonderful words because Vietnam vets have not had the acknowledgement, the appreciation that some of the other war veterans have had.
They're small tokens of appreciation, carefully prepared, generously given, and received by grateful hearts. And ready to be handed out are about 3 dozen more welcome home plaques. Mickey said he plans to distribute dozens of them at the annual Veterans Day Parade at downtown Knoxville this November. He's certain that many veterans will appreciate the gesture. And Kristen and Gabrielle, he gave me one of these plaques, and they're personalized if you want them personalized.
And they all are just a little bit different here, Don. Yours is a different shape than the one that we showed there in the story.
Exactly. Some are square, and some have different things all over them, but it's really nice what he does.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your service as well.
Of course we do. Thank you, Don, and thank every Vietnam veteran out there. If you have a consumer question for Don, you can send him an email at ddare@wate.com, or you can call his 6 on Your Side hotline number at 865-633-5974.